Today is wine shopping day. I'm at a Costco in Northern California in search of the very best wine values. I'll tell you a bit about the wines, including a tasting of each. If you've been to a Costco, you know it's a busy place and they sell a lot of wine. The wine assortment is limited, usually only a couple of hundred different wines. While some are available year round, most come and go quickly. You never know what you might find, and to some degree, the assortment will vary by location. For this video, I focused on wines that are more broadly available, along with those that offer the best value for the money from the world's classic wine regions. Included are some wines under the Costco-owned Kirkland Signature label. A total of 8 wines caught my attention. The wines are from 5 different countries. A quick word on making sense of the price signs in a Costco. This applies to wine and anything else in the club. Some signs will be noted with an additional supplier-funded discount. Be sure to note the expiration date. Items with price reductions are noted with an ending number of 7. An asterisk in the upper right corner notes a wine that is no longer being replenished, although it may return at a later date. It's time for the tasting. First up is the 2022 Wente Vineyards Arroyo Seco Riva Ranch Chardonnay from Monterey. Goes for $11.49. That includes an added supplier-funded discount. Wente has long been a source for great value. It's a family-owned winery. They're based in Livermore. A good amount of their vineyards are actually in Monterey, and that's the case for this Chardonnay. Now, over 100 years ago, Wente brought clones or cuttings of Chardonnay from Burgundy. Today, much of California is planted with those same clones. And I've loved this wine for years. I think for value, it's outstanding, it's consistent, and it's also quite readily available. Wente has a tremendous business outside of the US, so you can find it in international markets. Color is just as expected. There's a yellow hue to it. It has that youthful, fresh appearance. And the aroma. This has a little of that buttery character. This does spend some time in oak, and you do get a little of that buttery vanilla note to it. There's also something here that's reminiscent of citrus rind, but a very classic, bright, fresh style of Chardonnay with that oak to give it a little more interest and depth. Yeah, what's not to like about this wine? There's plenty of weight here. The acidity is bright and fresh to keep it really lively on the palate. It has good length. This is a crowd pleaser style of Chardonnay. I love this wine. I have for years. It's been so consistent. Value is excellent, as is the quality. Next up is the 2023 Kirkland Signature Côte de Rhone Village from the south of France. This is typically available year-round. The price is $7.49. It's the least expensive wine in today's video. Now, as for the wine itself, this is Grenache based, as is typical in the southern part of the Rhone and a good part of southern France. Grenache is grown far and wide. This version of it, this is Côte de Rhone Village, and this is just a step up from basic Côte de Rhone. Now, the color of this is just moderately deep. It's actually kind of a reddish purple color. There's a bit of fade out at the rim of the glass, and it is nowhere near opaque at the core. That's very typical for a wine of this type. And the aroma on this is just red fruit, savory spice, a little bit of a peppery character. Smells super inviting and very, very bright, fresh, and pure. On the palate, the wine's very soft. It's a simple wine. I don't think this has seen any time in oak. I don't think this has even kissed a toothpick. So what you're getting is just all primary fruit. It's fresh, bright, clean, lively. The tannin level is very low. This is a wine you could actually chill down a little bit. I think it would actually benefit from being chilled, maybe for 30 minutes or so in the fridge. But for under $10, this is just a solid bottle for the money. And it delivers a wine that is very much true to origin. Next up is the 2019 de Restia Riberadelduero Crianza from Spain. It goes for $15.99. So I was very excited when I spotted this wine. I'm a big fan of Ribera del Duero. I've been drinking much more of it in recent years. And for me, these are just some of the very best wines in all of Spain. Now, this particular example is made 100% from Tempranillo. That's not the case with some. Some will be a blend of other grape varieties. But this is oak aged Tempranillo from a classic source and a very solid producer. So I'm expecting big things with this wine. Now, the color on this is medium deep, and there is a bit of fade out at the edge of the glass, very typical for Tempranillo that's been aged in oak. Fantastic aroma. You do get a little bit of that oak note, that's definitely there. But there is this savory spice, red fruit character is there. There's something here that's a little bit reminiscent of espresso. It has a little bit of that character to it. But I love the way this smells. It really has good intensity, nice purity, really just jumps out of the glass. You can also tell it does have a little bit of bottle age to it. It's comparing it to the previous wine, which was all fresh, fruity, very forward. This wine has more layers to it. There's more range, more complexity to it. Yeah, on the palate, plenty of weight here. Very well structured, nicely balanced. That oak component is evident, but it's seamlessly integrated into the wine. This is really a beauty. And I think this is actually going to benefit from some aeration. It's only been open for a couple of minutes. But if you can find this, this is a classic style of Ribera del Duero. Really beautiful from start to finish. And I tell you, for the price, this is really quite outstanding. I think I'm going to go back and pick up a few more bottles for myself. Next up is the 2021 Kirkland Signature Cabernet Sauvignon from the Alexander Valley, Sonoma, California. It's seasonally available. It sells for $9.99. So this is another that really grabbed my attention. Alexander Valley. This is prime real estate for Cabernet Sauvignon in Sonoma. Some of the top producers from the region have vineyard sources in that area. $10, that is really an attention grabber. And the third piece is the winemaker behind this is Allison Crow. I've known Allison for a number of years. We worked on some projects some years ago. She is super talented, and I think she makes a lot of really outstanding wine. So let's see what this one brings. This is medium deep in color. Again, the core is not quite opaque, but there's some very good extraction here. Immediately appealing. I mean, very lifted, clean. There's that dark fruit character, that blackberry, raspberry note. There is a bit of oak in this wine as well. You do get a little bit of that smoky, charred, vanilla characteristic. Yeah, this smells very good. On the palate, really soft, very smooth. Um, this is really enjoyable for $10. Actually, rather remarkable for $10. It's not some super complex, layered, nuanced wine, but it's extremely well made. It really is true to origin. It has a lot of that Alexander Valley character to it. There's the depth, the weight, the range, the ripeness in the wine that you would expect from this area. Uh, really solid made. The tannins are very soft. This wine is just a few years old. It's 2021. This is ready to drink now. This is not a wine that is built for cellaring. Right now, it's really drinking very well and completely enjoyable. The value is crazy. This is a gem. On to the next wine, the 2022 Kirkland Signature Red Blend from the Columbia Valley in Washington State. This wine goes for $16.99. So I have work projects in Washington State, and I go there every year. This has been for 5 straight years now, and the wine quality there just keeps on getting better. The focus there is primarily Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Syrah. They also make some fantastic Rieslings, but the wines are just tremendous, and the values just some of the best that you'll find. Now, this is primarily made from Cabernet Sauvignon with a bit of Merlot and Syrah. So it's not a typical sort of blend, but it's the three grape varieties that very much excel within Washington State. Now, the color on this is quite deep. Again, not quite opaque at the core, but there's some good extraction here. This has that black fruit characteristic. There's that cassis, blackberry character. There's definitely some oak aromatics here as well, but nice lifted intensity. Oh, this is really nice. The Cabernet is what forms the foundation of this wine. It gives it a lot of that structure. The Merlot rounds it out, softens the wine a bit, and the Syrah is there to provide a bit more aromatic range and a little bit of spiciness. Really nice wine. Very different than the styles that you'll find in California. And I recall some years ago when I went through the Master of Wine program, oftentimes when I tasted Cabernet-based wines from Washington State, there was something there that reminded me a bit of Bordeaux. There's a little bit of that dusty tannins on the back palate, and that's exactly what this wine has. Yeah, this is very good. This is another wine that I think would benefit from some aeration. This will be an interesting wine to come back and revisit after a couple of hours. This is the 2019 Kirkland Signature Brunello di Montalcino from Tuscany, Italy. This is seasonally available. It sells at $19.99. So the next two wines are classic Italian wines. These are some of the most renowned regions, but these are both under the Kirkland Signature label. The first up is the Brunello. Now, this is a 2019 vintage, and typically, virtually always, these are wines made for cellarings. Now, this is Sangiovese based, and as a result, it's just medium deep in color. There's quite a bit of fade out at the edge of the glass, but this is very typical for Brunello. Now, the aroma. This wine has just been opened, and immediately you get that tart cherry characteristic, very typical of Brunello. There's also a whiff of something that's a bit reminiscent of truffle and a little bit of a black olive characteristic. It really smells quite good, just moderate intensity. Medium bodied, nice acidity, which again is very typical of Brunello. The wine's actually showing quite well for just being opened. There's some tannin here, not a lot. I mean, it certainly, you do get a little of that drying impact on the back palate, but it's really surprisingly quite accessible in its current state. Now, 2019 is an outstanding vintage in Tuscany, and it's a year that really is producing a wide array of very good wines. So the vintage is very, very solid. I don't know where this wine is being sourced from. I don't know who the producer is, but this feels very classic in terms of having that sense of place. It doesn't strike me as a fantastic bottle of Brunello. There certainly are much, much better than this, but for the price point, the value is excellent. And you know, I had the 2018 last year. I did a similar video, and this wine is very much like the previous vintage. So if you like the 18, I think there's a good chance that you'll like the 19. But my suggestion is, if you're in the Brunello and you want to pick this up, I would not delay. I think this is a wine that's probably going to disappear very quick. This is quite interesting. I think this will be something that I want to retaste later tonight. I'd like to see how this develops. It's time for the 2020 Kirkland Signature Barolo from the Piedmont region of Northwest Italy. This is a seasonal offering. It goes for $19.99. So this is the second classic Italian red under the Kirkland label. This is the Barolo. I originally went to my Costco to pick this up. I was looking for this specifically. They didn't have it. I received a text from a friend the next day saying, hey, they're stocking the bins right now. Why don't you come back out? So I did that. Now, this wine is Nebbiolo based. And like the first, generally, this is made for long-term cellaring. This being a 2020, very good vintage. Many of the 2020s are built to age. Now, the color on this, again, this is not expected to be a super deep color wine, and it's certainly not. It's a medium deep garnet color. There's a bit of fade out at the edge of the glass. This looks exactly as expected. Now, the aroma on this, there's a bit of a dried rose petal. It's almost like this lifted floral characteristic. It has a bit of that black olive note. Just moderate intensity. And again, this just being opened, I would expect with a little aeration, it would really start to bloom. Some good body on this. There's some astringency on the back palate. There's certainly some tannins here, but the wine actually is more accessible than expected. I thought this could be hard as a rock. It's not. I think this will benefit from some air, but it's actually showing quite well, and I think the raw material here is quite good. Yeah, if you're a fan of Barolo, and again, for $20, this is worth taking a flyer on. The wine is very sound. I wouldn't say this is some tremendous bottle of Barolo, but again, it has a sense of place. It's true to form. It's what it's supposed to be. It's really quite good. I think they've done a solid job with it. And I would imagine this is another wine that's going to disappear quick. Next up is the Kirkland Signature 10-year-old Tawny Port. This is a seasonal offering. It goes for $16.99. With this last wine, I tasted this in a video that I did about 1 year ago, and I absolutely loved it. The wine is now back at Costco, and I thought I need to retaste it. And it's sealed with what's commonly called a tea cork. At least that's what it's called in my circle. This goes by a number of other names as well, but there's actually a plastic cap that's attached to it, and there's no need for a corkscrew. It makes the wine very easy to reseal as well. Now, the 10-year Tawny, this is a wine that is cask aged versus bottle aged. Very, very different than vintage port. The color is different. It has that tawny color. That's partly where the name comes from. And it's through this very long, slow oxidative process of the wine being aged in barrel that it softens the wine, and the wine will lose some of that red color. I mean, what's not to love in the aroma? It's this creme brulee, roasted nut, caramel characteristic, a little bit of underlying red fruit, but the smell is just fantastic. Same on the palate. It's weighty, it's very full, super smooth. I mean, there's not enough O's in smooth to describe this wine. It has a good amount of weight to it, and there's certainly sweetness there, but sweetness is just one small component of it. To find a 10-year Tawny at under $20, I mean, that's just a screaming deal. And if you're looking for a fantastic way to end a meal, this is it. So again, I don't know how long this wine is going to be around, but my suggestion is if you're interested, get out to your Costco soon and pick it up. Well, I think it's safe to say I'll be drinking some Costco wine tonight. I've got a feeling my neighbors will be doing the same. Now, if you have any questions or comments, please post them down below. I try to follow up on each and every one. And if you've not yet subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so right now. Hit the like button, definitely hit the notification bell. If you have any like-minded wine friends, please share this video. All of these things help to grow my channel. Again, thank you so much. Hope to see you again before too long. Cheers. I've still not once hit the bucket with a behind the back toss.